tell
Yeah.
us, what is the LSAT? What are the pieces of it? What does it test?
Yeah, totally. So the LSAT is the law school admission test, and pretty much every law school requires it. Some are taking the GRE now, but it's not really anything to think too much about. So the LSAT is pretty much the main game in town. And it's a hard grad level exam. I think it's actually the hardest graduate admissions exam in contrast to the GRE or the GMAT or the MCAT, because it tests something that pretty much nobody has prior exposure to. So the LSAT, it's not testing math, it's not testing vocabulary, it's testing a way of thinking. You can't cram for this, you can't memorize it. It's in a way testing your ability to think like a lawyer, which means thinking critically, thinking skeptically, being able to extract a general principle from an argument and then apply it to a somewhat comparable situation. And so for that reason, it is tough and scary at first. And you have to it's kind of like learning a foreign language is the way I think about it. Most people don't do well on it at first, on their first attempts. They have to learn the unique language and rhythm of the LSAT. And so there are three different types of sections you may see on the LSAT. There's logic games, which are the mathematical types of puzzles that we were alluding to earlier. They don't actually have any actual math on them, but they involve a sort of symbolic logic where you have these different variables that you have to manipulate in a variety of ways. Either you're putting them in order, or you're grouping them, or you're doing both of those things at the same time. So they can get pretty scary, especially for folks with humanities backgrounds, but they are learnable. Then there's logical reasoning, which there are two sections of out of the four, so it's half the exam. And these are short, bite-sized arguments that you may have to strengthen or weaken or identify the conclusion of them or the flaw inherent within them. And these are, I think, most similar to what people experience in law school, where they're kind of like a fact pattern. Then you have reading comprehension, which at first glance might seem pretty similar to SAT or ACT reading comprehension, but it's actually quite different in what they're testing, because they're testing your ability to spot the structure of the reading passage and the intent of the author, rather than any sort of substantive knowledge. Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I wish you all the best and take care.